Well, hello, everybody. Happy Easter. It's Sunday, and the Cardboard Rhino rides again. I just, for about an hour, tried all sorts of different configurations. I've got my webcam up. I've got a couple external cameras I was trying. I've got Premiere Pro from Adobe. I was going to cut everything together, and I'm just now tired of it. I do have the GoPro going up my left shoulder here, and hopefully if everything goes well, I'll be able to cut to some of that video. But, you know, who knows? This was the configuration I was trying to use. I got this Gorilla Pod, and I had a super clamp on top. But I've been trying to build, and I also have, this was one of the other fun, I got a nice blue microphone. I've been trying to build a podcast for my work, and it's fun fitting that in with homeschooling and quarantine and everything else that's happening. So the first edition of that podcast has not yet been made, but for everybody that's got this far, I do hope you've had a chance to dig into your collections, or do something fun with some of your sports cards or your memorabilia. As you can see, that big kind of white space of wall behind me, there's a lot of room there for some things to hit the wall. I've got it all stacked in boxes. It's been in the boxes since we moved about a year ago. And, if there's one upside to this quarantine, and, again, I'm, not minimizing anything, and there's no upsides to what's happening, but if it's doing one thing for collectors, it's getting you maybe more in touch with your collections, and that's something I've been trying to do. I've tried sparking some conversations here in the group, and I know a couple people have dug in. I think it's fun to just, I'm an up late kind of guy. I mean, it's almost midnight right now. It's 11:41 p.m. And so, what are you going to do? So I did want to share, just kind of a story about a card that I spent most of my life trying to chase down. And, I used to call it my white whale. And I'm a big Mike Schmidt collector. I was a Phillies fan and a Cubs fan. It doesn't make any sense, but when I was growing up, I was a Phillies fan and a Cubs fan. I was a Phillies fan because I lived in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania. But I was a first baseman basically my whole career. So I came to very much look up to Mark Grace as a first baseman. And I'll have another story about Mark Grace, maybe another post. But I want to talk about Schmitty for a minute, because my whole youth I was always chasing Mike Schmidt, and I had the good fortune of having come across in a trade a second-year Schmidt, and that was my prized possession. And of course, back in the day, Beckett was Bible. This was all pre-grading and everything, but that Schmidt sat at about $110 for several years, maybe $5 up, $5 down, but it was most of the time it was $110 into a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old even, it's kind of out of reach, because even if I had made enough money mowing lawns, which I did by far, number one, it would have been dependent on a card shop having it. And number two, it would have been, dependent on me being able to cut free $110 and feel okay about it, just, as that's the right thing to do with that money. And I never did. I always hoped to trade into one. I had enough things in my collection that I could trade into something. We had a great neighborhood group of card collectors, and we actually used to play cards for cards, which, I was pretty good at cards, so that actually helped me out quite a bit in my early teens. But it wasn't until, and I always, this is something I had kind of said to myself, especially about this card, is I didn't want to just buy it on eBay. I wanted to come across it, naturally. Well, I did end up buying the first one that I got on eBay because there was a smoking deal. It was a great card. It was just the price was right. I think I got it into it for like $42.50. And, that same card in the condition it was in would have been that $110 card back in the day, because it was really sweet. But in the era of PSA and Beckett grading, I mean, something's got to be really, really money, really, an 8 to 10 for people really to chase it hard. And this was an ungraded version. And I got it for it was like $42.50, maybe it was $46, $48. And then, so I was kind of like, well, this will be my placeholder, at least I can touch this thing. And within weeks, it was weird. Enrique came across one at Northland Baseball Cards, and he always anytime he sees anything Schmidt related, he'll always give me a call or shoot me a picture of it. Or, I'm usually in the shop, 2 or 3 times a week, and he'll just be able to show it to me. And so I've got that Schmitty here. There it is. And it's pretty sweet. And it's actually, here, I don't know if the GoPro will catch it. And again, I don't know. I can't even see what it's showing right now, but maybe it's showing it. Maybe it isn't, this technology. But there it is. And I got it for a really good price from Enrique, as good as the front of the card looked, because it had been stuck in a photo album. So the back had been decimated by photo album glue. But my goal was always to come across that card naturally, somehow in a trade. I used to buy, small collections, garage sales. I used to buy storage units. I always just was like, someday I'm going to come across this card. I consider what I got from Enrique a natural pickup, because I do, I trade, I buy, I, sell all sorts of stuff in there. So that's fair trading grounds for me. And so it qualifies, but I think I'll never stop looking. It's just, that's a card that will always capture my attention. I don't know. I just like talking cards. I'm kind of crazy like that, I guess. I mentioned that I was the Reel Rhino previously. That was Reel Rhino. I used to talk movies all the time online. But I don't know. I guess I like the sound of my own voice sometimes. I won one of the Razes this week. I won the 1980, 83, 84, and 86 packs. And I'm going to open those here. And if you want to check out and see what I got, I'll have to put in the notes that I'm going to start that at about the 7-minute mark. So if anybody wants to jump past that ridiculous long story about Mike Schmidt or any of my other ramblings, they can just see what I got in these packs. But I know that one of the things that Enrique is trying to do is not only get folks into these Razes, but also get a lot of them opened online so folks can watch. I love opening packs. I think a lot of us do. We're always dreaming of that big hit, or, just we like tearing wax. I like building sets. I like looking through cards with my son. We spent about 3 hours today going through his collection. So it's just, it's one of those things that I like to do. So I do appreciate Enrique doing that. I have bought into a couple myself and, picked up some cards, but I do like being able to watch without having to put my Monopoly money down, which is essentially what it is in a Raz or an online buy. Because, you're not in the shop. At least in the shop, if you're holding your credit card or your cash in your hand, you can have that moment of pause. But it is easy to say, just like, let me in. So I appreciate being able to watch, and I do also appreciate being able to jump into the ones that I have. I know that Enrique is working hard to get as many things out there as he can, and I'm very appreciative for that, because, like I said, going through the collection and kind of maintaining that connection to it has helped through some of the quarantine. I've got my family also. I got my wife and 2 kids. And like I said, I love going through cards with my boy, and my daughter and I go on nature walks, and the whole family takes the dogs on walks. So it's not like I'm bunkered here all by myself or anything. So I'm thankful for my family as well. But when you need that minute of peace, where you could either stare at a wall or at a box of cards, I'll take a box of cards any day. So let's see what we got. I've got the GoPro going. Like I said, I can't see exactly how it's picking these up. I'm going to open the 86 first here. You can see in case it doesn't show up on the GoPro at all, you can see my little stack of packs. And I'm going to open the 86 first. And I'm going to try and preserve these wrappers if I can. 86, there's a couple cards that I could probably pick up and be happy with. Mel Hall takes the gum stain. And or it takes no, it's just a little stain on the card. The gum stain goes to Thad Bosley. There's some 1986 chewing gum there. So let's see what we have here. It's let's see. I'm going to cut it in half and go, because they had the 2 stacks of cards that are facing that contest card in the middle. Lewis, I think I mentioned last time. Anytime I try and pronounce names, or I might have mentioned at some point, Agayo. Lewis, I'm not going to show them all. If I get anything good, I'll show you. Bud Black, good old Bud Black. We got a little print defect on that one, little something or other. Hey, Oral Hershiser, that's all right. I'll take that. I like old Oral Hershiser. Back in 1986, I'd have been dancing around the room for some Oral. Ooh, Oral Hershiser. You got to say that all the way through, or else it gets you into trouble. Larry Parrish. I probably won't even use the GoPro. I'll just yeah, it'd be too much editing. The later it gets in the night, the lazier I get with technology. Donnie Moore and Thad Bosley. That's the first half. Here's my contest card. You remember these, win a trip to spring break. Never did win that trip. Did enter a bunch of stuff, though. Glenn Hoffman, The Wizard of Oz, all-star card. Pretty sweet. Chuck Tanner of the Pirates. Grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Was never a Pirates fan, but they were close. Did get to see the Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla play some baseball games back before things got out of control. Ed Wojna, Scott McGregor, little Dale Murphy on a Braves leaders card. Also would have been excited about that, even though it was just a leaders card. I dig those old vintage leaders and league leaders cards with, like, Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and folks like that on them. You can get those cards for a song, and it's really neat to own those guys from those older vintages without having to dig too deep in the pocket. So that's the 86 pack. Let's see here. We've got the 84 pack. 84 pack. It's got a 7-Eleven price sticker on it of 40 cents. I'm gonna crack this thing. I'm hoping to keep these wrappers pretty decent. I'd like to maybe do something with that. 84, of course, has got some decent possibility. Let's see on the back. The gum stain goes to Rick Manning. I'll put that right there. And right off the bat, I've got a Cal Ripken team leaders card. That's kind of cool. I went to the University of Maryland. You might notice my Maryland gear. Anytime you hear Enrique say, I know who might like that card, and it's a Terp, he's talking about me. So lived in the Maryland area for about 6 years, 94 to 2000. So I did get a chance to see Cal when he was with the Orioles, and it was quite an experience. Braves, Jerry Royster. Reds, Russ Nixon, manager. Milt May, old Milt May. I want to say I used to work out at the Royal Stadium for about 4 years when I worked for the police department, and I want to say I met Milt May there. I'd have to dig into my files. I keep track of everybody I meet, whoever I get to sign, all that stuff, so I'd have to dig back in. Keith Moreland, Chris Nyman, Kelly Paris, and a very just dank, oh, shoot, I dropped it. There you go. Very dank on the back. You're not going to see that, but one run. Remember, you used to collect runs and be able to put those in. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Ooh, Johnny Wookenfuss. Man, that's a real name, too. Some of the names that I used to see in some of these sets was pretty awesome. We didn't realize it then, but now we can be like, man. Tom Herr, old Cardinal. Probably some people on here that like that. Ken Singleton. Tony Bernazard. It's some of these names you just don't ever say them out loud, and you haven't watched a game where Tony Bernazard has played in 30 years. It's tough. We don't have announcers telling us how to say those. Greg Brock, Ben Hayes, pitcher for the Reds, and like I said, Rick Manning. There is some good wear through from that gum stain. That thing's sitting there for oh goodness, what is it, about 36 years. That has done some work on that card. So that's my 1984 pack. Let's see, that puts us at 83, and this is a 30-cent stickered pack. Let's see, get this thing. Oh, this one's going to be a little tougher. Come on. There we go, made it. 83, give me a Boggs, give me a Gwynn, give me a Sandberg. Come on, baby. That'd be my jam. Let's see. Gum stain goes to Bo Diaz. Catcher for the Reds. Let's see here. All right. First out of the pack is Larry Anderson, Mariners. We've got a Don Sutton. The pitching ace with the cotton ball head of hair. That guy, he used to have some hair on him. That is for sure. Bob Shirley of the Reds, pitcher for the Reds. Omar Moreno. Oh man, that's a nice Steve Carlton. And I got a winner coming up right here. You guys are gonna like this. We hit the quiz. Yeah, baby. Dan Quisenberry. There you have it. Man, that form was something else. This trifecta of cards is unbelievable. So the next card is the Yankees, Ron Guidry, and as an Easter treat, my in-laws used to always play a game of like wiffle ball, And my father-in-law always used to yell out the window, "Bring in Ron Guidry." They were huge Yankee fans, and they live in, my in-laws live in Long Island, and of course we're out here in Kansas City. But the reason this is a great trifecta, of course, because we got Quisenberry, we got the great Ron Guidry, and then friend of the shop, Greg Pryor. That's a nice trio of cards right there. I tell you what, that's pretty awesome. I might have to get Greg to sign that just on principle. And I got a pair, count them, a pair of Win a Trip to the World Series scratch-offs. I think that must be a mistake. I think that was only supposed to have one. We got Al Oliver of the Expos, Randy Moffett of the Astros. Wow, a nice Raleigh Fingers. This is a great pack of pitchers right here. I'm not going to lie. This is something else. Let's see. Jimmy Smith of the Pirates, Scott McGregor, and man, this guy. Whew, come on, Buckner. Bring it on, man. That guy, that's something else. That's a good card. I actually collected Buckner's, and I did, like I said, I did like the Cubs, so I like that he's in the Cubbies uniform there. But I collect Buckner's on principle. Buckner's and Wilson's, just something to have. And there's my, oh wow, yeah, I said Bo Diaz, catcher for the Reds. I believe he caught for the Reds at some point, but he was with the Phillies there. I don't know why. I think that's misspoke. I'm sure a lot of people are lighting up the comments, if anybody at all is watching this, to correct me. That's the one thing I've noticed, man. You say anything that anybody sniffs is incorrect anywhere online, you're gonna hear about it. You're gonna get corrected. Absolutely. All right, the winner, the 1980. Let's see what we got. Let's get into this thing. First card I see is the Astros team card with the gum stain going to Rob Andrews. Man, that is a big piece of gum. That was nice and wide. All right, let's see what we got here. Lance Parrish, Jose Morales, Dan Briggs. You got a Dave Kingman home run leaders, Bert Campaneris, Pete Falcone. Boy, these cards are just sharp too. Look at this. Good old Pete Falcone. Ed Crane pool. Little dent on that, little print defect. Red Sox team card. Manager Don Zimmer. He was a Cubbies manager at one point. Nino Espinoza. Bob Sykes. We got a 1979 highlight card. That is Manny Mota. We got Dan Ford, outfield for the Angels. Fernando Gonzalez with the Padres. And Rob Andrews, my gum card. There you have it. So no big hits, but a lot of fun. I might have to pick up that same 4-pack on principle. I think Enrique's got all 4 of those years still sitting on the shelf. Honestly, ripping old wax is like a time machine, man. It really is. I've yapped on way too long. I'm sorry. I had fun opening these. I hope you had a chance to watch. I'm going to try and get it where you can see when I open them as I'm opening them. Something, you know, I got 17 cameras and 3 microphones, but all I can shoot is on my iPhone. So I'll see what I can do to make it better next time. I'm gonna work on my theme song also. I've been thinking about it. You know, the Cardboard Rhino. And every time I say it, it plays in my head to the theme of the Rhinestone Cowboy. Just the Cardboard Rhino. Yeah, well, like I said, it's now 11:58. It's almost midnight. It's been a long weekend. Got to shift gears into my homeschool teacher mode and, you know, get some work done tomorrow. So I'm a little delirious. So excuse the singing of the Rhinestone Cowboy. I hope you can forgive me. Enrique, keep it up. I really appreciate what you're doing. And for everyone out there, please be safe, stay safe. I wish everyone well. I know this is a very difficult time. How many times have you heard that in the last month and a half? This unprecedented time, this difficult time, this challenging time. It is. It really is. You know, I'm an outdoor cat, and, you know, like I said, ripping wax and watching Enrique open for other people, it's keeping me sane. And my wife and children, too. They're keeping me sane, too. But, you know, it's all good. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you did make it this far, I really appreciate it. But if not, I'll see you in the text box on the Facebook page. And just be safe, stay safe. Have a great one. Thanks so much.